Nobody is breaking the terms of service. Me standing here like this, it's just shoulders. And by the way, I am wearing a shirt.
So over the past week, there has been a lot of discourse, once again, on Twitch about adult content or lewd, sexually suggestive content. Now, some of you who are familiar with Twitch as a platform, where I stream every day at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, covering news, politics, and social commentary. You should check it out. It's pretty fucking cool. There has always been discourse over what is and isn't acceptable suggestively nude content on the platform. Personally, as a person who enjoys sexual content, who enjoys even lewd content, and has friends who do this type of content, it is not the issue that people make it out to be. Some of you may recall a couple years ago when the hot tub meta was all the rage, and whatever this is. Did it turn out that there was sexual content happening on these streams? Well, no. Were they sexy streams? Were these streams corrupting children on this platform? No, they weren't. And of course, the muckrakers over at Dexerto were the ones to make this into a much bigger issue than it actually is. At the center of the current discourse are multiple streamers, but predominantly one Morgpie, who is an adult content creator, and on Twitch does more lighthearted, fun gaming streams, just chatting content, and a variety of different types of content in the live streaming space. And of course, this was the post that set everything off beyond the initial kind of friendly, lighthearted, and also, of course, very misogynistic commentary that people, of course, make every time this comes up, and leave it to the gaming space to make it into a much bigger deal than it actually is.
I feel
What is this meta?
And also, like, anxious today. You know what I mean? Titan, thank you for the tier 3. Thank you. I just want to relax today, so I don't really have any, like, sub goals or anything.
Absolutely devastating. What is this platform coming to? Now, anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together and any blood left in their brain at that moment would tell you very decisively and accurately that this is within Twitch TOS guidelines. There is no nudity, perhaps implied or suggestive nudity, but there's been a big reveal. Now, Morgpie has been banned in response to public outcry by these sexless nerds on this platform, but in her banning, Morgpie actually revealed something that most of us were aware of already.
My ban, one of the reasons they listed was a lap dance. I'm the only one here, so I'm not really sure how I could have given anybody a lap dance. But that was one of the reasons they listed in the ban that I received. So I think, honestly, they are just cracking down on this new meta. And their toss is very open-ended. So they're not giving anyone, nobody's breaking toss. Nobody is breaking the terms of service. Me standing here like this, it's just shoulders. And by the way, I am wearing a shirt. I do wear a shirt and pants in all of the streams. So it's just the implied nudity that really freaks people out. So I can pull up the screenshot I took. It says engaging in lap dances. Again, I'm the only one here, so I don't really know how I was doing that. The other one was describing a sexual experience in graphic detail for a prolonged time. Another one I honestly don't recall doing. Like every single one of these kinds of streams that I've been doing, I was playing a video game the whole time, the whole stream. So I don't really know where that one came from. This is the one that I understand. Okay, the final one that they list. It says making explicit gestures towards breasts, buttocks, or genitals on stream. That one I can kind of see because when I would get like a donation or a sub, I would do this. All right, and I'm clapping my hands, but that looks like something else. But I am clapping my hands, and I do, throughout my streams, I do lift my hands up to the camera, too. There are a couple where I'm like, yay, but throughout the stream, several times I do put my hands up to the camera. So I was trying to make it like oh my gosh, what's she doing? But also like, hey, Twitch, just so you know, like I'm not actually doing that. I think there are constantly people on the platform that abuse the very vague terms of service that Twitch has. I think whether I'm doing it, some other girls doing it, some guys are doing it, like, you know, Twitch, they don't want sexual content. I think a part of the toss does list that certain like sexually explicit content isn't allowed, but people stream sex in video games all the time. And, you know, people do have sexual discussions on the platform constantly, men and women. They allow sexual content, but at the same time they don't. And I think that with the vagueness of the toss, people are going to find loopholes regardless because they do allow sexual content and sexual themes on the site.
And of course, it turns out that they weren't actually nude. Now, in this circumstance, where Morgpie describes that she was wearing, a tube top and some jeans, it could also be possible that some of the women that are engaging in this type of content, this new meta, are wearing pasties. But that would also fall within Twitch terms of service, because body painting is allowed on this platform as artistic expression, even if it is sexually suggestive in nature. Ultimately, this is an issue not with the content in and of itself, but of unclear Twitch terms of service, which has always been a problem on this platform, and also with the culture that exists on Twitch that is still very pervasive, that a predominantly male platform, there are mostly men who stream and who are viewers on this platform, seeing women in the platform encroaching on the space. Now, when I was young and stupid, still am, not young anymore, but when I was more stupid, I felt the same way that some of these young men on the platform feel, that sexual content within a given space, be it content creation on Twitch as live streamers or on YouTube, I felt that women doing sexual content was taking away viewers. Now, I don't believe this anymore because I grew the fuck up. And also, you're not owed views. You're not owed views as a man, as a woman, as an NB, as a gamer, as a political commentator, or as a sexually suggestive streamer. You're just not owed views. It is a silly notion to have. There is another argument that I am hearing that this is predominantly a platform of minors who are viewing the content. That is also not true. As friend of the show Caseytron points out here, people keep on saying that Twitch is largely made up of minors. It actually isn't. Just like they keep on acting like OnlyFans streams are being featured on the front page, they are not. They also routinely leave out that you can mark your streams 18 plus. The age of demographics of Twitch users, 18 to 24-year-olds, which would be the closest we can get to whether or not someone is a minor, is 35% of the platform. The remainder are 25 and older, albeit there is a smaller portion of the 35 and up, but most of the platform, 67%, almost 68%, is 18 to 34. That is the vast majority of the platform. And even if there were minors on the platform, none of this content is sexually explicit. And if we're going to have an issue with platforms having sexually explicit content, adult-centered content, we would have to have that smoke for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and most egregiously on the publicly free available platforms, Twitter. But we don't have that smoke because this is not about nudity. It is about puritanical values and also misogyny. I hate to get into my lefty shtick here, but it is just misogyny. Now, the reason I wanted to bring up this story is because there are actually egregious examples of sexually explicit and suggestive content.
What's that noise?
It's my cock.
Shut your stupid.
And, most importantly, violent content, especially those who are glorifying violence.
No, Israel killing some random 12-year-old kid for no reason. Are you making fun of a dead kid? No, I'm making fun of you, jackass, for existing. Are you making fun of a dead kid? They killed him, you fucking idiot! These people are shitting and pissing themselves right now. They killed him, you fucking idiot! All he wanted was 100K YouTube subs, you fucking asshole! Fucking soy overload.
About that. Probably not the kind of content that we would want partnered streamers engaging in, doing apologetics or obfuscating from a very clear instance of a humanitarian crisis and making fun of it. Probably not the best thing that we should have partners doing. I don't know, just me. Which has updated their guidelines when it comes to sexually suggestive and explicit content. Let's take a look. Updating our approach to sexual content and content classification labels. We've received consistent feedback from streamers that our current policies around sexual content are confusing and that it can be difficult to know how their content will be interpreted based on these policies. We want streamers to feel confident they understand our rules and viewers to feel confident they will get the experience that they expect. To accomplish this, we are making 2 changes effective today: streamlining our policies regarding sexual content and updating the criteria used for homepage recommendations. To be effective, policies need to be easy to understand so that a streamer knows what is allowed on the site and what is not allowed. Part of the confusion comes from the fact that there are currently 2 separate policies in the community guidelines that address sexual content. There is also an additional section in the content classification guidelines that describes when a streamer needs to label their content as including sexual themes. Going forward, the sexually suggestive content and sexually explicit content policies will be consolidated into a single sexual content policy within the community guidelines. This policy specifies the types of sexual content that are prohibited on Twitch, and violating this policy will result in an account enforcement. Now, what changes in this new update? Some types of content that were prohibited will now be allowed on Twitch, if appropriately labeled. These changes include previously prohibited but now allowed with a label. Content that deliberately highlighted breasts, buttocks, or pelvic region. Even when fully clothed, streamers found it difficult to determine what was prohibited and what was allowed, and often evaluating whether or not a stream violated this portion of the policy was subjective. In addition, the former sexually suggestive content policy was out of line with industry standards and resulted in female-presenting streamers being disproportionately penalized. Fictionalizing drawn, animated, or sculpted fully exposed female-presenting breasts and or genitals, buttocks, regardless of gender. There is a thriving artist community on Twitch, and this policy was overly punitive and did not reflect the impact of the content. Body writing on female-presenting breasts and or buttocks, regardless of gender. The Twitch attire policy already allows body art on breasts and buttocks, so this change makes these policies consistent. Erotic dances that involve disrobing or disrobing gestures, such as strip teases. Changes to popular dances. Popular dances such as twerking, grinding, and pole dancing are now allowed without a label. Previously, some dances were prohibited and others were allowed with a label. Enforcing on dances regardless of context meant our policy prohibited twerking at a wedding or taking a pole dancing exercise class, for example. The policy now takes context into consideration and only prohibits streaming inside of an adult entertainment establishment. With the updates to the sexual content policy, are artistic depictions of nudity allowed? Content with a focus on fictionalized, drawn, animated, or sculpted sexual body parts regardless of gender, such as doing nude figure drawing, are allowed with a sexual themes label. However, fictionalized sexual acts or masturbation remain prohibited. Is body painting on the breasts and buttocks allowed on Twitch? As long as attire requirements are met, body painting on the breasts and buttocks is allowed with a sexual themes label. How does Twitch handle nudity in gaming? Okay, we don't need to worry about that. So this can be a good change. One of the problems on Twitch consistently is a very vague terms of service. Weaving in and out of that terms of service, as Morgpie noted, is part of the challenge of being on this platform. Can Twitch be more clear about their guidelines? Of course they can. Will they? It usually takes moments like these for them to change. And that is the unfortunate part, is that people like Morgpie are the ones that take the hit for everybody else so that we can get a little bit of change. It takes a company like Twitch actually listening to their creators to be able to make changes that are good for the creators themselves. And changing the culture of Twitch is one of the most difficult parts. For multiple years now, the content, being a right-wing shithole, has been changing to be a more accommodating place. There are still problems on this platform in regards to that. Hate raids and bigoted content are still prevalent on this platform.
Are you making fun of a dead kid?
But it can change for the better, and I hope it does. But for those who look at content like Morgpie was doing and have a visceral reaction, that requires more unpacking than simply changing or looking at the Twitch guidelines. There is a problem of devaluing women on this platform, and the platform only gets better by having a more diverse streamer base here on Twitch, which you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gremloe, where I'm live every day at 7 a.m. And you could watch me cover news and politics and do social commentary and sometimes play games. I'm live every day. Come check it out. And if you like this video, hit that subscribe button and like the video and ring the bell and all that, because I'm going to be posting more videos. We recently hired an editor, so go subscribe to the Twitch, because that's where I make my money and I need to pay my editor. Anyway, bye. Bye. Hope you liked it. Free Morgue Pie.